Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blane Gates. Welcome to the next chapter in this exciting and interesting journey about motivation, how we can pinpoint motivation, and also how we can look at our organizations, about our products, our leadership, our employees, and everything about our organization in general to pinpoint exactly what is motivating people. What is motivating our customers to purchase our products? What is motivating our leadership to create visions and mission statements? What is motivating our company to hire specific types of people? And what is motivating certain types of people to join our organization and be productive? Now, we have been talking about this for a while, so you're well aware that we are talking about state purposes from the book Create Crucial Insight by Dr. Thomas Buckolz, which basically means to envision purposes that motivate or can motivate individuals, teams, relationships, and activities. Now, we've been talking about this idea over and over and over and over and over. We are still in the area of potential, and I promise you that today will be the last time that we focus on these three elements: enhancing reputation, attain certification and other recognition, maintain or enhance wellness. In fact, for some people, they might not be interested in this at all. And how do I know? Because there's actually an example in this book. The first example, you could see it in one of the previous videos. The second example, I don't want to go into the example right now, but let me just show you. See, you can see enhance reputation, attain certification and other recognition, maintain or enhance wellness. And over here, there are no facets, meaning that the person who filled in this table could not see anything within it's actually about an innovation program that was related to these types of motivation. Therefore, they could not label whether or not there was a positive or negative correlation. What are you talking about, positive or negative correlation? You see here we have positive and negative correlation, the P and the N. And it all goes back to this idea up here at the top, which says that you should first pinpoint the purpose or motivation and then try to understand what facets there are, what aspects of whatever, and then is there some correlation between those two things? For example, slavery. We all know the word slavery, and it has been happening in human existence in all different cultures all over the world for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's not a special thing that only popped up here or there. It has literally been everywhere for a very, very, very long time. So, being owned and being told what to do at the end of a sword, that's the facet, right? And so the motivation for the slave is to do what they are told to do, or they will die. So I don't know, which motivation is that? Ooh, that's a difficult one. Now, if we're talking about perhaps like maintaining or enhancing wellness, so does slavery, okay, so if somebody has facet. So how does the slave owner provide for or enhance for the wellness of the slave? You see, that's probably a negative correlation. So the human, now of course in your mind, you could be thinking, oh, you're racist. You said the word slave. What? I just finished saying that there's been slavery in every culture, in every country, all over the world for all of human existence. So how's that racist? Doesn't make any sense at all. Anyways, it just means that we are overly sensitive to the word slave. I mean, I can understand why, because it has a negative correlation to purposes or motivations. People in general want to maintain or enhance their wellness. Slavery does not have a positive correlation. Obviously, the main purpose of this example was to help you understand how this little thing up here works. Now, why is this the last day that I'm going to be talking about these three elements? Sometimes I feel like Tom's work in his book is a little bit challenging. In fact, I've spent the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years of my life reading, and the last at least 5 years teaching his book and getting all these examples, hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands and thousands of hours. And still, I have problems sometimes understanding exactly how do I apply this in a real situation. Now, of course, we could use his specific instructions. It says, use the top row in the figure to describe an endeavor. Use the left area to list purposes or motivations associated with the endeavor or its facets. Okay. So the thing is that Tom's really, really science. He's a physicist. So when he's using his words, he's talking in a way which is extremely precise and explains an idea with extreme clarity. But the difficulty is that sometimes the language is difficult for other people to grasp. And also, it doesn't lead into any well, what do you mean? How do we use this in real life? What does it actually mean? And yeah, I mean, now we have the benefit of using ChatGPT. We can use these chat things and we can just write it in there. We can say, okay, ChatGPT, I'm looking at this methodology, which has a concept of shaping potential, forming agendas, and creating effects. And in this methodology, it shows basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sentences which represent at least 50 different ideas. So I would appreciate if you could go through each of those 11 sentences, flesh out exactly how many verb-noun combinations there are, what they mean, and then identify them as categories of purposes or motivations. After you have that list of purposes and motivations, then I would like you to understand that in general, people are pursuing purposes or motivations, and they do that through certain types of behaviors. And in addition, you could say that some behaviors have a negative correlation and some behaviors have a positive correlation to that type of motivation. We're going to identify those behaviors as more than just a behavior, because they could be more than just a behavior. And so we're going to use the word facet. Feel free to define the word facet in order to better understand how we can list facets and how they're correlated with the list of purposes or motivations which you have created from this image. And then you take a picture of that, and then so then it's going to think, it's going to create, it's going to do stuff, it's going to beep, bop, boop, and then boom, it's going to create you this big list, and then facets and correlation is going to go all over the place. All right, so that's one thing, that's one way to do this, using a chatbot. Another way to do it, and the reason why I say that today is the last time I'm going to talk about these last 3 items, is because I did it slightly differently. The way that I did it was I put shape potential at the top. It's the name of the table. And because we're talking about thinking tools for business, I've identified at least 4 different types of relationships which are extremely important for businesses. Number 1, the relationship that your employee has with the organization. The question is, what do I get out of this job? It's called your compensation. Next is, what is the company hoping to get out of the employee? This is called your contribution. Next is, how is the company pursuing its motivations? So this is when you use your leaders to establish company vision, mission, and methods. Sometimes the methods are delegated to departments. And finally, what does the customer get out of the product or service? And this is called a value proposition. So we all saw this in the last video, actually. I saw the craziest Instagram video today. So I saw this one Instagram video and there's a dog. And then the Instagram message, basically the lady, she's like, hey, watch, when I'm talking on the phone and I use some keywords that my dog understands. And then she's talking to her friend. She's like, yeah, we're going to go to the beach and we're going to play with whoever. And then we're going to have some, food or some specific spaghetti. And then we're going to do this. And so she's using all these trigger words which are based on motivations, intrinsic motivations of the dog. And when the dog hears these words, bing, it perks up and it perks up and it perks up. And at the end, it's just going crazy, right? So that's the whole idea of a positive correlation. And then today I saw another video, but in this case, it wasn't a dog. It was the woman's husband. So the husband was sitting on the next to the couch, leaning up against the couch, playing on his phone. And the woman, she's in the background and she's pretending to make a phone call. And she's like, yeah, okay. So, right, we're going to meet at the lake. Oh, and then there's going to be a boat. Oh, and then after we're going to have a barbecue and there's going to be a steak. Oh, and there's a water slide. And the husband is like, every time that she says a trigger word, he's just like constantly freaking out. And he's like, I want to go. And then she's like, wow, that sounds like a really great girls' night or girls' party. And the husband's like, well, you need somebody to drive the boat. Who's going? I'm going. And it's like, so you can see that he's like losing his mind because you talked about all of the things which he's intrinsically motivated. These are purposes that motivate, things that motivate him. When he hears the words, then it gets him all kinds of excited. That's what we're talking about. So when we talk about compensation, so the reason why I said this is the last time we're going to talk about this is because I transformed Tom's checklist, at least these first 3 ideas related to shaping potential. And then you can see on the left side, maintaining or enhancing a wellness. And then we define them in like more specific detail: attain, certification or other recognition, and enhance reputation. Then we've applied them to these 4 different areas and we turn them into questions. All right, so imagine you're in an interview and the interviewer says, okay, would you share with us your salary expectations and how you feel elements of compensation would influence your productivity, right? So that's really the question. It's not really about how much am I getting paid. It's about how can we shape some type of remuneration plan so that it's motivating. That is the key. Like, imagine you're working with one of these new AI companies and they offer you some stock options. So you're saying that if I get stock options, it means that if our company succeeds, then the stock value will go up and I will get rich, not just from my salary, but from these shares. You see, so it's very important to understand how can we create some kind of overall compensation that will motivate participants. Now, I use these square brackets because you can change those words. So we can use the same sentence. For example, let's talk about environmental. Would you share with us your opinion about the environment and how you feel things? Well, we're talking about compensation. And how can we provide, what are aspects of our environment that we can improve in order to help you to be at your best? So then they say, what do you need? I need this type of desk, or I need to have this kind of space, or I need to have this kind of some benefit. Maybe there's food, or there are some, or there, like I remember when I was in Moscow, I was at Novartis, and they actually on like the 6th floor, they had these 2 rooms, and you could close the door, you can close the curtain. It was like soundproof. And there was like a little bed. You could just lay down there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes and relax. And other companies, they have like a kitchen, and other companies have whatever, So can we change our environment, or are there aspects of our environment that you would like access to so that it is more, so that you feel more productive at work? You see, so you can shape this question in order to fit your specific needs and understand what types of spark triggers or facilitation, I guess in this case, we're talking about spark triggers because these are side issues related to how your employees will be compensated. In the next one, well, I don't know, are we going to go down or are we going to go to the right? So let's just keep talking about the interview. So we're still interviewing this potential employee. The next question related to attaining certification or other recognition It's related to what are you interested in learning and what's your love language. Now, I'm not saying you should ask specifically what is your love language, but do you understand what I'm saying? When we talk about recognition, this has some connection with this concept of love language. And imagine you're a radio. The question is, are there always radio waves in the air? Yes. How do you pick up radio waves? Well, you need some kind of device that can understand and pick up the radio wave and then transform it into sound. Exactly. And this is what a love language is. So it means that if that person loves me and they're sending waves, love waves at me, the question is, what kind of radio am I? Imagine that my love language is quality time. And the person is giving me gifts. They keep sending me gifts. And it's like, why are you sending me gifts? I can't understand. What does it mean? You're trying to buy my love? And then they're like so angry. But then you have another person and they love gifts. And like, wow, he sent me another gift. Oh, he sent me another gift. Oh, he loves me so much. So it depends on what kind of love language you have. And that will influence whether or not you're actually feeling appreciated, needed, loved, cared for. So when I talk about recognition, I just use the word love language because recognition can mean a lot of different things. We want to understand, how does that person want to be recognized? And then the other thing is, what are you interested in learning? Can we help you to attain other certification? Can we help you to get some kind of certification? Can we help push you toward your overall long-term goals? Finally, in your interview, at least regarding these first three motivations, it talks about enhanced reputation. The question is, how can we help you achieve this type of recognition in this area? Imagine that you are applying for a university professor position. And the reason you're applying for this position is because you want to have the opportunity to become a Nobel laureate. And it's only through, or it's perhaps through this path that you feel that this is possible. And in the interview process, you make it very clear that you want to become a Nobel laureate and you have some expectations to achieve this recognition in this area. Therefore, I need access to these people and these students and this database and these ideas, and I want to push the learning in this direction. So that could be extremely motivational if an organization is able to express that they are capable of providing that experience for that professor. All right, well, that's the compensation. What about the contribution? So the company, they then say something like this: our company values this type of wellness. Again, we're using square brackets because you can fill in financial, emotional, physical, social, spiritual. You can put in your company values about how you want to enhance or maintain wellness of the company and the relationships within the company with other people. And we would like to better understand your values and how you would like to contribute to this type of wellness. So I think you're going to put the same square bracket. You're going to put the same word in here and in here. They want to understand, because remember that a labor contract has two parties. A job is two parties. It's not just what I am going to be paid, but it's like, what is the contribution I'm going to be making? And the company wants to understand, can you contribute to this thing which we value? How can you help our organization to achieve this certification? I want ISO 2000, 2 million, 2 billion. And it's my job to help the company to get that certification. Or our company is seeking for this kind of recognition. So back in the old days, when I was in China, I was working with one of these guys with a really big name. We call them rainmakers because they make it rain. So he has this name, and the question is, why would you want to work with this person with such a big recognizable name? And one time, this lady was telling me that one potential idea, she said, well, listen, if you go to a bank, let's say you're trying to do a development project, and you have this name as one of your leaders in your company. He's on our board of directors. Then the bank might be more willing to provide you with a loan at a low rate of interest because of that person is on our team. That is one way to achieve some level of recognition. So that's why we want this guy in our company. That's the contribution. And the question is, can you help our organization get this bank loan if we put your name as a board of director? We expect that you are going to act in a certain type of way because we want to get this bank loan at this certain level of interest. All right, and finally, how can you help our organization to achieve this type of recognition in this area? Wait. Okay. So reputation. So recognition, yeah. So it depends on what you think of the word recognition and how does it change from the word reputation. What type of reputation would positively influence the behavior of stakeholders and customers? So the thing is that, I don't know, what does that sentence mean anymore? What type of reputation would positively influence the behavior of stakeholders and customers? If you join our organization, how can you help our organization to achieve some kind of reputation? Now, stakeholders can be, the reason I use the word stakeholders, because it can be somebody outside of the organization. It could be the media. It could be a relationship with the environmental people, with a university, with a government organization. So those are all different types of stakeholders. And then the customers are people who buy our products. So with you working in our company, how are you going to help us to improve our reputation so that we can have a positive relationship with the outside world? All right, let's continue. All right, so now we're going to move beyond this. So this was the employment contract. This was the interview. Now we want to go inside of the organization. And inside of the organization, we have two things. We have the leaders who are setting the company vision, the mission, and methods. And then we have the value proposition of our actual product. So when you talk about company vision, the question is, does the company vision have clearly stated values based on maintaining or enhancing wellness? How can we take practical steps to align our company behavior with our values? And I think in this day and age, people are very interested in the values of your company. And certainly people are interested in wellness. Number one, a company is interested in financial wellness, but nowadays we're looking at corporate responsibility and we want to make sure that there is wellness in a lot of different areas of our business. So first, what are those values? And then second, are we aligned to those values? Is there beneficial certification we can get? Okay, so like our vision is this. Do we need a certificate? Like our company is going to drive. Do we have a driver's license? And next is, what level of recognition do we aspire to and for what? We need recognition. We want recognition. Now, of course, this is different than reputation. So perhaps this is also talking about the area of values, because we want to be known for our values and behavior, and therefore we are seeking to be recognized for the actions that our company takes, which are related to this type of behavior. All right, so I was talking to a banker in Brazil, and we were talking about the Amazon rainforest, and we were talking about these credits. There are companies that are polluting the environment, and then they have to purchase these credits, and then they give the credits to these farmers so that they don't cut down the Amazon rainforest. The idea is that we want to preserve our environment, and in order to preserve the environment, then people who have access to that environment, they need to be incentivized not to make money by tearing down the rainforest. Therefore, we have to provide them with capital, maybe you can call it investment capital, so that they can invest in other types of industries which do not impact the environment in negative ways. So, all right, did we buy our credits? Are we helping the Amazon rainforests? Next one is, what type of reputation? I know that's another one of those topics where people have a lot of different opinions, but I'm just explaining the concept. What type of reputation would positively influence the behavior of stakeholders and customers? So now we're using the same concept here. It's like we need a reputation. Like, let's think about What? So remember that thing with Volkswagen when they used some computer glitch in order to make it look like they were polluting less, but actually they were polluting a lot, but they just made the system look like they were polluting less? That's crazy. That is a negative reputation. That is going to influence stakeholders. That is going to influence customers. People are not going to be happy to find out that you did some weird thing to make the computer say that you were achieving the level of emissions that are regulated by law, but actually you just cheated. Now you have the reputation of cheating. All right. Now, there was this other situation. Remember that Samsung, when ChatGPT first came out, immediately they made this message like, hey, if you're working for a company, you can't use ChatGPT because we have like really important data that we don't want to be giving to Microsoft. All right, so that did two things. One thing it did was when people hear the word ChatGPT, they immediately also thought of Samsung because the word Samsung got associated with the word ChatGPT, and people were always talking about ChatGPT, and therefore in the back of their mind, the word Samsung kept coming up. And it was also Samsung needs a better solution so that their data is protected because they want their data protected. It's like, it makes you think, oh, okay, that they're taking steps to make sure that their data is protected. They want their customers to believe that they protect your data. All right, and finally, now we're talking about the value proposition. So we're talking about the actual product. Now, maybe I was kind of talking about the product. I don't know. Is there like a clear distinction between how the company pursues its motivations and what the customer gets out of the product or service? All right, so let's look at what does the customer want. Looks like this is on the wrong page. All right, so financially, is it cheaper than the competitor? Emotionally, is it entertaining? Physical, is it comfortable? Is there a good experience? Social, is it cultural? So we need to understand like what are the motivations of our customers and how does our product fulfill, or how does our solution provide for the intrinsic motivation of our customers? Let's go to the next question. So the next question is, how does our product address people? What does the sentence say? How does our product address people, maybe who? How does our product address people who are motivated? Yes. How does our product address people who are motivated by this certification or this other recognition? This is more specific. And this goes back to, remember I was talking about like, we have this innovation example where at the very bottom, like there's no correlation, right? We don't have any facet that is related to enhanced reputation. That may be the case because it seems as though if we're talking about certification, then it means that you have a product which can provide certification. So this box in this specific square bracket instant is only for companies who are providing a product or service which can actually help somebody achieve certification. Or recognition. So is there some desirable recognition which people want and that your product can help them achieve? All right, so for example, YouTube, like, hey, here, look, I'm talking. I've been sharing information with people for a long time, and I hope that my information is getting better and better. And now I'm starting to get recognition. Oh, look, you've increased your subscribers by 400%. Wow, I'm getting recognition. So YouTube helps me to get recognition for the work that I'm engaged in and the messages that I'm creating. Wow. So I'm really active on YouTube. Now, if we look at the other 6 platforms where I cut up these videos and put them into shorts, I can look at the relative performance of my shorts on these platforms. So I don't put any money into this short, and suddenly it shows 8,000 views on YouTube, it shows 4,000 views on TikTok, it shows 0 views on X, it shows 0 views on Instagram, it shows 5 views on Facebook, and it shows however many views on LinkedIn. What? So which products are helping me get recognition? And that was a game changer with TikTok because they're like, hey guys, we're gonna help you get people. We want people engaged on our platform. We have a better algorithm. We can feed you stuff. We can get people to stay on our platform longer. So you really have to understand the platform and how to play the game, but also the game has to understand the customer and how to get the right content in front of the right people so that people can feel that they're getting that recognition from the platform. Specify types of recognition. And finally, let's run a SWOT analysis regarding reputation. What does that mean? So what's a SWOT analysis? Maybe I wasn't actually planning on doing this. Do I have a SWOT? So, what? Okay, so I got this one. Sometimes I go into this with people. I need to explain like what is a thinking tool, and so we just do this quick SWOT analysis. Now remember that SWOT analysis, okay, so let's try to bring these things together. Let's run a SWOT analysis regarding our reputation. Okay, so what is our reputation? Okay, so internal, our team has a good reputation for doing this. Our team has a bad reputation for doing that. Externally, what does the outside world and what do customers and stakeholders think about our team or product or whatever in a good way? And what are some negative things that people think about our team and our product and our company? All right, that's a quick SWOT analysis of our reputation. And finally, what type of recognition do people seek and that our product can influence in their lives? What type of recognition do people seek and that our product can influence in their lives? So imagine that new phone. So Huawei, they just created some phone. It like folds into 3 things, right? It's like the newest, latest, breaking, amazing. So look at the difference between the iPhone. So the iPhone comes out and says, hey, look, here's the old iPhone and here's the new iPhone. You see the difference? So like, apparently the customers are not seeking some kind of recognition related to innovation of how iPhone has revolutionized the telephone world in the last couple years. They probably are looking for other types of recognition. Hey, look, recognition. Oh, I did the same thing as last time. But of course, everybody knows that if you have an iPhone, there is some element of like reputation. I remember the lady, again, with Novartis, there was this one lady, she's like, when I started my career, I immediately purchased an iPhone because I wanted other people to see in a meeting when I pulled out my phone, it was an iPhone. She was seeking a certain type of reputation, and the iPhone was a signal of that reputation. So the question is, what's the reputation of your product? And what kind of reputation, how will that influence the reputation of the people that buy that product? All right, so we did it. We took the first section of the direct outcomes checklist, state purposes, the first 3 ideas, and we made 8 videos just talking about 3 simple ideas. So there you go. Thank you for joining me in Space Between Ideas, and we'll see you next time. Actually, next time, I got this new idea. So, because I've been making 3 live videos a week, and I feel like there's other stuff I want to say. And also, this is in the live section of YouTube, and it doesn't work exactly the same as the video section. Not everybody knows where the live section is, and it doesn't, I don't know, there's some, at least I want to continue to upload edited videos with certain types of ideas. And the new idea is called Half-Baked. So maybe you'll see a video next week entitled Half-Baked, or at least in the playlist Half-Baked, and I'll see you next time.